Hi everyone, a very warm welcome to my next story. My name is Kinga. I write blogs, books and short stories. And today I would like to invite you to the story about the queen of her life. So once upon a time, beyond the mountains and deep into the woods, there lived a princess in a lonely tower. You know the story, don't you? We've all heard it more than once. And what is this princess waiting for? Of course, a prince, a charming one on a white horse, coming to rescue her from misery and despair. Familiar tale, right? Of course it is, but I think it's long past its expiry date. To be honest, I think it's a ridiculous story because the girls who believe in the story end up handing over their power to something beyond their control, to fate, to someday that may never come. It's a story that tells you you'll be sad, you'll be helpless, you will cry, until one day a prince arrives and saves you. That's the promise. And worse, it robs you of your own strength. It tells you that you can't escape on your own, that you're doomed to wait, that you can't go looking for your own freedom. You sit there and hope someone else will find you and will find a way to save you. But what if the prince isn't even looking? What if he's too busy living his own life? Maybe he's not even interested in riding around on a white horse and rescuing girls in distress. Maybe he's out there looking for a queen of life who is living her life with full power and not a victim princess. And that's the real issue with the story. It makes you believe that you're powerless, that you're weak and unhappy and helpless, that your job is only to suffer quietly, cry a little, pray for a miracle, and hope someday it all just sort itself out. But let's take this story apart, piece by piece. Who is even this prince? What sort of a man goes searching not for a strong, grounded woman, a queen of her life, but for a helpless girl stuck in a tower? Maybe he's lacking something himself. Maybe he's looking for someone who will not notice his flaws. Because if you're a victim, he doesn't have to try very hard to look like a hero. But honestly, is that the kind of prince you want? Or is he not really a prince at all, but maybe someone, strong word, toxic, maybe someone who builds himself up by keeping you small and dependent? And what about your role in all of this? You're the one who is stuck, who is waiting, who's told she's a little princess. Little less. You start to believe it, that you're not strong enough, you're not capable enough, you're not capable of shaping your own life. And of course, patience and humility are your traits. A patient, humble martyr, expected to sit still, wait, pray and weep. And manna falls from the sky, a touch of magic, a miracle, a salvation. But just stop for a moment and ask yourself, what are you doing to yourself by believing this tale? You give away your power. You start to believe you can't break those walls, that you're not strong enough to leave that tower, that you're less than whoever is meant to save you. It's a truly foolish tale, and it's time to stop telling this foolish tale to our girls. Yes, it's an outdated and harmful story. We need stories now. We need new stories now. Stories for today. Stories I'd love every young girl to believe in. Ones where she isn't a victim of fate. So I'd like to invite you to come with me into a new kind of story. The story of the queen of her own life. So, once upon a time, beyond the mountains and the forest, in a magical land.
Once upon a time, beyond the mountains and the forests, in a magical land, there stood a magnificent magical castle. At its heart rose a tall, golden tower made of sandstone, glowing in the sunlight. It was here that a young princess lived. She was dearly loved by her parents, a wise queen and a just king. Their kingdom lay nestled in a valley, flanked by two great mountains. Though many valleys and noble lands lay beyond, theirs was special, rich with magic and mystery. One day, as the princess grew older, she began to wonder about her future. She looked at her parents. Her father ruled the kingdom with wisdom, and her mother was not only beautiful, but also a wise and powerful queen who ruled alongside him. And the princess asked herself, "Who am I meant to become?" One day, she turned to her mother, the wise and regal queen, and asked, "Mother, will I ever become a queen like you?" The queen smiled warmly and replied, "My child, we live in a world full of forests, mountains, and deep valleys. Every princess is born with a path, or at least that's what the old stories say. Out there, past the castle walls, lies the dark forest. You've played there before, without knowing its secrets or its dangers. But if you traveled even further, you'd come to a wide river, one that separates our kingdom from the lands beyond. And near that river, at the forest's edge, stands a high, sandy tower. When the time comes when you turn 18, your father will send you there. It is tradition. There you will wait for your prince. You know this from the stories, the fairy tales the maids used to whisper to you," the queen added, gently placing her hand on her daughter's shoulder. The princess listened, but her heart stirred with questions. Is my destiny really already written? Must I follow the same path drawn out in those old tales? She looked back at her mother, eyes filled with doubt. But why, mother? Why must I go to the tower? Why can't I be like you, strong, wise, a queen who rules this kingdom by her own mind and strength? Must I really wait to be rescued? The queen's gaze softened, her voice calm and steady. My darling, you are a princess, and princesses are sent to towers. That's how the story goes. You wait for a prince. But, she added, lowering her voice slightly, you can always choose another path. You don't have to be the princess in the story. You can become a queen instead. Yes, you were born into a role, a gentle, passive one, just like in all the fairy tales. You can live a safe and easy life if you want. Just walk up to that tower and wait patiently. Sooner or later, a prince will arrive on his white horse, climb the tower, free you, and, as the legends say, you'll live happily ever after. The queen paused and then added, more seriously, but remember that word, probably. It's not certain. You don't know where he'll come from, what sort of man he'll be, or if what he offers will truly make you happy. That decision, and what kind of life you want, is entirely yours. The princess looked at her mother, heart pounding with curiosity and a flicker of fear. Mother, do I truly have to be a princess? What would I need to do to become a powerful queen like you? You're not naive or helpless. You lead this kingdom with wisdom, right beside father. The queen gave a knowing smile and paused in thought. After a moment of silence, she said, "You know, when I was your age, I had this very same conversation with my own mother, your grandmother. Back then, I made a choice. I decided I wouldn't just drift along in the role of the fairy tale princess. I was told that every princess has a choice. You can remain the girl locked in a tower, hoping to be rescued. Or you can take a harder path, the path of a young queen. But make no mistake, the path of a queen is not the same as that of a princess. When her time comes, she doesn't wait quietly in her tower. And if she does end up in one, she finds a way to escape by herself." The queen's eyes lit up with memory, and her voice shifted, as though she were about to share a secret passed down through generations. "There's an old legend," she began, "about the very first princess who dared to leave her tower. Long before my time, before your grandmother's, or even her grandmother's, there was a young woman locked away high above the river. Her tower stood at the edge of the kingdom, where the trees meet the water. The stories say that across that river lies another world, a land of peaks and valleys where true power waits for those who seek it. It is there the road to becoming a queen begins. The queen's voice turns solemn. But that road has never been easy. Beyond the great river rise the sacred mountains, a place for those brave enough to live outside the rules of their birth. That's where freedom begins. But to get there, one must cross many trials. Storms, solitude, pain, and yes, sometimes tears. Not everyone chooses that journey. Only the princesses who are ready to become queens. She paused again, then smiled, not out of pride, but out of quiet strength. That long ago, princess. She found herself in the same high tower, but instead of waiting for a prince, she made up her mind. She would free herself. She stood by the little window, staring out at the river and the distant mystical, the sacred mountains. And then, quite suddenly, she fell into a deep, magical sleep. The young princess leaned in, her breath quiet. Her mother continued, almost in a whisper. In that dream, she saw herself standing across the river in a land filled with light and power. There, a beautiful woman appeared, radiant, in a gown like moonlight, holding an ancient, heavy book. The princess in the dream asked, "Who are you? And why are you giving me this book?" And the woman smiled and replied, "It is my mission. Where those who seek ask, I bring knowledge, strength, and courage. Where there are questions, I bring answers. Where they do not know, but they seek, I show the way. And you, dear princess, have just asked the most important question of your life. What now? So I have come to help you." The dream princess looked at her, wide-eyed, and asked, "Who are you? What's your name?" "I am Edwina," said the woman, "and when you call on me with a true question, I will come. Not always immediately, but always when it matters most. One request I have for you: follow your own path. Follow the voice of your inner power. And when you feel lost, open the book I've given you. If you find no answers there, then know you are about to be tested, not by me, but by Mother Nature herself. With every step you take, you will have to find the answers to her questions." The woman looked at the princess once more, deep into her eyes, and continued, "Soon, you will awaken from your beautiful dream. A task awaits you, a long, slow, and difficult journey. But remember, to become the queen of your own life, you must give it everything you've got. We will meet again. For now, rest and never stop asking the question, what now? Follow your inner voice, your intuition, and in time, we will find each other once more." When the princess awoke from her strange, vivid dream, she found something lying beside her, a heavy, mysterious book, just like the one in the dream. She opened it slowly, and inside the first page read, "Lesson 1. When you don't know what to do, ask questions. Seek answers. You can stay here, waiting to be saved. Or you can look out your tiny window and realize there's another world beyond that river. If you cannot leave through the front door, perhaps there is another way. Find it." Something shifted inside her. A spark. She leapt to her feet, racing up and down the stone staircases of the tower, searching every corner and crack for a hidden passage, a clue, a forgotten key. Hours passed, maybe days, with no result. Eventually, exhausted and disheartened, she slumped onto the cold stone steps. I don't know how to leave," she whispered. "There's no way out." Then she remembered her dream. She ran to fetch the magical book, and as if sensing the girl's readiness, it opened to the next page all by itself. Trusting in the power of the mysterious dream, the princess asked aloud, "What now? You said that if I asked the question, you would come to help. I need you now." The book opened gently, revealing new words. When one door is closed, another will open. Look for the path others ignore. Listen inward. Inspired by the words of the book, the princess once again threw herself into the search. This time, she noticed rays of sunlight gently streaming through tiny holes in the walls, casting a glowing path across the stone. Her heart began to race. Instinctively, she followed the light, descending to the lowest level of the tower, the cellar dungeons, where, all of a sudden, the light vanished. Darkness surrounded her, but at the end of the shadowy corridor, she saw a door. She stepped towards them cautiously, but before touching the handle, she thought of the beautiful woman from her dream. "If you are more than just a dream," she asked in her mind, "help me see what lies beyond these doors." The doors creaked open ever so slightly, as if by magic, revealing a narrow, damp tunnel. The air inside was strange, scented with incense she recognized from the rituals performed in her village. She took a few steps forward, but before going any further, she noticed a tiny, carefully carved inscription on the wall. "Remember the lessons." She realized it was time to leave the tower for good. She hurried upstairs and packed the magical book into a small travel rucksack, along with everything she thought she might need for a long journey. Then she returned to the dungeons. At the entrance, she glanced one last time at the main tower door, the one she had once hoped to escape through. To her surprise, brick by brick, the door began to vanish, sealing itself shut and becoming invisible as if it had never been there at all. Did it mean the fairy tale prince would never come? She stopped thinking about it. Her own path had become more important now. With full conviction, she stepped into the mysterious tunnel. "Guide me," she whispered to the lady from her dream. "I trust you." And she walked. Through cold and darkness. Through endless twists and turns. Through day and night. Until, at last, she collapsed, tired to her bones. And when she awoke, she was no longer in the tunnel. She was in a glowing cave, bathed in morning light. The air was fresh. Flowers bloomed in colors she had never seen. She stepped outside and saw them. Towering, magical mountains in the distance. Valleys rich with life. A land like no other. She sat beneath a tree, breathless from the beauty. And then, a figure appeared on the path ahead. A woman, graceful and warm. She walked slowly towards her and said in a gentle, melodic voice, "Welcome, young queen. Your journey won't be easy, but you're on the right path. My dear friend Indwina told me you were coming. We've been waiting for you." The princess, now a young queen, was struck speechless with astonishment upon hearing the words of the mysterious woman. After a moment of silence, she asked hesitantly, "Who are you?" she asked. The mysterious woman smiled softly and gazed deep into her eyes. "I am one of you, and you are one of us. I am a queen of my own life. I walk these mountains and valleys, shaping my world by the strength of my heart. Every lesson I've learned has become part of my power. And now I offer that power to you, as others once offered it to me. I am from the same tribe as you. We are bound by the same spirit, the same strength that flows through our vein. I am the queen of my own life. I journey through these mountains and valleys, fulfilling dreams as I follow the paths of my own heart. Every road is a lesson to me, and every lesson strengthens my power, which I offer to this world. The world you have just entered. Every queen I meet, whether young or seasoned, receives support just as you are receiving it today." The mysterious woman paused for a moment, allowing her words to sink deep into the princess's heart. The woman looked at the princess with great seriousness and added, "Our paths are each different, but when you reach the summit of your mountain, you will be proud that you chose to begin the journey. You won't find a prince here to rescue you from trouble, but you will meet others like yourself, people who know how to sling a backpack over their shoulder and build their own world with their own hands." At that moment, the princess's mother suddenly paused her story. She looked lovingly at her daughter and spoke in a quiet, yet resolute voice. "This is a legend I once heard myself. But you know, my darling, if you wish, You can choose a path just like it. The tale will hold power if only you choose to believe in it. You have a choice. You can be a passive princess, locked away in a tower, waiting for a prince. Or, like the princess in the story, you can find your own door and step out into the world to become the queen of your own life. The choice is always yours. Her mother finished with a smile, gazing deep into her daughter's eyes, as if reading the future that was just beginning to unfold. Her mother looked at her again with deep tenderness and went on. If you decide to cross the river and follow your own path, just like the princess from the legend, I will give you a very special book, the Book of Power. It will be your support, your inner strength, the voice of your truth. But you must promise me that you'll never speak of it to anyone. We, the queens of life, have our secrets. Those who are ready to walk this path receive a wisdom passed down through generations. The wisdom of intuition. When you're ready to set out towards the world beyond the great river, tell me, and I will pass the book on to you. But remember, this journey won't be easy. Along the way, you'll come across little buildings that look like prison towers. Sometimes, worn out and discouraged, you may feel tempted to hide inside them, to run away from the challenges of the road. But you must know that it's only the illusion of safety. True freedom cannot be found there. A queen who trades her freedom, intuition, and truth for comfort will never go further, and she will never taste the summit of her own mountain. Every ease comes at a cost, and for every hardship you overcome, a reward will follow. Each of us who has crossed the wide river has gained her own power, and with that power, we build a beautiful world, a kingdom full of strength. But even that comes at a price. The princess looked at her mother, intrigued and a little afraid. But Mum, what price would I have to pay? The queen mother smiled mysteriously and answered gently, I cannot tell you that, my love. Those will be your own lessons, written in your book of power, gathered along your journey. And when you have walked your path, you will pass those lessons on to the next young queens. And so this story comes to an end. The tale of a princess who heard a legend about how to become a young queen and begin building her own kingdom of power. I encourage you, my dear ones, to always seek out new doors, even those that at first seem hidden or unclear. You may find them in the dark dungeons of your own fears. At first, they might seem too frightening, and the comfort of the tower far safer. But you will always have a choice: to remain a powerless princess waiting to be saved, or to set out bravely and create your own empire, and become the free queen of your own life. I hope this fairy tale inspires you to live with full strength, courage, and faith in your own abilities, and to take responsibility for shaping your future through effort, education, and a never-ending journey towards fulfilling your dreams. The queen paused her tale. Her eyes softened as she looked at her daughter, no longer just a child, but a young woman standing at the edge of her own story. Her voice was quieter now, but resolute. That legend I told you, I once heard it too. And now, my dear, if you choose, you may walk a similar path. She took the princess's hands in her own and continued. A story only holds power if you believe in it. You have a choice. You can remain the waiting princess, locked in her tower, hoping someone will save her. Or you can find your own hidden door and begin your own journey. You can become the queen of your own life. The princess stood in silence, the weight of the moment pressing gently on her shoulders, not heavy, but sacred. The queen leaned closer and said, If you truly decide to cross the great river and begin your own path, just as the girl in the legend did, I will give you something very precious. A book, the Book of Power. It will be your companion, your guide, the voice of your truth. But you must promise me one thing. Never speak of it to anyone. We queens of life have our secrets, and this one is passed down only to those who are ready. Those who feel the call, who know that freedom, intuition, and truth matter more than comfort and certainty. She stood up and moved to a hidden drawer carved into the wood of the old throne. From it, she drew a leather-bound book, aged yet unmarked by time. She placed it gently in her daughter's hands. "When you are ready to begin your journey," the Queen said, "this book will speak to you. But know this, the path ahead will not be easy. Along the way, you'll encounter little towers, safe places, comfortable places, places that look inviting when you're tired or afraid. You'll be tempted to stay. But those towers are illusions. They may offer rest, but they cannot offer freedom. And freedom, my darling, is the heartbeat of a queen." The princess, no, the young queen-to-be, nodded slowly. She felt it now. The pull, the knowing. And then a final question surfaced in her voice. "Mother, what price must I pay for this journey?" The Queen smiled gently, her expression both proud and solemn. "That, my love, I cannot tell you. Your path is your own. Your lessons will be yours and yours alone. They will be written in the book of power as you walk. And one day, when you have traveled far and deep, you'll pass your book on to the next young queen who comes asking, just like you did today." And with that, the Queen stood tall and whispered the closing words of the ancient tale. "Every true queen earns her crown not through rescue, but through the courage to walk into the unknown." The princess looked at her mother, intrigued and slightly frightened. "Mother, but what kind of price would I have to pay?" she asked. The Queen smiled mysteriously and answered calmly, "That, my darling, I cannot reveal to you. Those will be your own lessons, written in your own book of power, which you will gather along your journey. And once you have walked your path, you will pass those lessons on to the next young queens." And so the story ends, the tale of a princess who heard the old legend and learned what it means to become a young queen, ready to begin building her own kingdom of strength.
I hope you enjoyed the story of a young queen who decided to build her own life and believe in her own powers, in her possibility of choice. I invite you, my dears, to always look for new doors, even the ones that seem hidden and unclear at first. You may find them in the darkest cellars of your fears. At the beginning, they may seem too frightening to enter. The comfortable tower might feel much safer at first. But remember, you always have a choice to remain a powerless, waiting princess, or to bravely set off on your own journey and build your own empire, to become a free queen of your own life. I hope this story inspires you to live with full power, courage, and belief in your own potential, and to take responsibility for creating your own future through your effort, learning, and never-ending journey towards your dreams. If you enjoyed the story, share it with other girls, share it with moms who will share the new modern story of a young princess who had the courage to build her own life and become the queen of her life, powerful and strong. Thank you.